So what you're about to see, I'm going to have a proper introduction to, but unfortunately, my episode of Hollow Knight that I have been recording has not been particularly productive, and to try and cut it down, it's going to take a lot of editing. So to make sure you're not without anything, I had already recorded this, and yeah, hopefully you enjoy, but instead of the regular episode you would get today, you're going to get this as part 1. Part 2 will be in a couple of days, and part 3 a couple of days after that. And then, hopefully by then, I'll have added enough content into the actual episode of Hollow Knight to give you a good, possibly final episode of Hollow Knight in the blind playthrough. I might come back to it again in the future and do another sort of second run at it, I guess you could call it. And with that second run, my idea is to try and do it in a little bit of an interesting order, which I think I talk about in this video. But please enjoy. Hopefully this will do for today's episode. Sorry you don't have a regular one, but yeah, enjoy. Good hello, and welcome back to Hollow Knight. So today I did an episode that involved the Pantheon and the Path of Pain, and it was shorter than normal. So in order to make up for it, I decided that I might try and take a look at something else. So I thought, it might be fun to see the game speedrun. So I watched one on my own, and then I thought, why aren't I recording this? So I watched an any % one, and it was really fast, and there are things there that I didn't know existed, such as dropping a chandelier on the knights in the tower of the... Yep. So anyway, now that I'm at the end of the game, that I've done pretty much everything I can think of doing, I am someone who prefers 100% speedrun to any percent speedrun. Why? Because it makes them work for it. And I'm not saying they don't work for it, because they pull off some crazy shit in any percent, but seeing every area approached from a fast perspective, like seeing them do a marathon through a game, that's what I like seeing. I like seeing that with speedruns for... I mean, I don't watch many speedruns, I mainly watch them for Metroidvanias. Seeing Super Metroid being done that way, seeing Axiom Verge being done that way, they're really fun to me. So I found this video by on the Games Done Quick channel, because that's where I normally watch my speedruns. They have some nice commentary. And I'm going to commentate a bit through it as well. But I figured, why not do a video of me reacting to a speedrun? Now I'm probably going to... It's a 3-hour, 18-minute video, so I'm probably going to pause it at different bits and break it up. But yeah, let's react to...
to get right
this
into the action.
Speedrun.
Take it away.
So gets right into it, which is good.
Hi everyone, I'm Emre. I am super excited to get to show off Hollow Knight 106%. True ending, no major glitches.
106%.
So there's a lot to cover in this run, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, go.
So not 112, 106.
Okay, so first things first. Basically what this category is 106% is max completion for patch 1221. And if you're familiar with Hollow Knight speedrunning at all, you know that patch 1221 is basically the main no major glitches patch. This has all of the cool speed tech on it, and I personally find this category a whole lot of fun. So yeah, the very first thing we did there was a pause for early control and an inventory drop. And I should probably introduce my commentators. I'm here with Colette MSLP.
Hello.
And Sabera Messia.
And Sabera will be joining us shortly.
Yeah. Yeah. Colette is also an amazing runner of this game and also runs this category, so she's going to be helping me out. This run is very intensive with a lot of information, so I'm going to let her take the lead on a lot of stuff throughout the run.
And there are several things that once we teach you guys about them, they'll apply throughout the entire run. For example, with saving, usually that's going to happen on a bench, but right here at the door out of King's Pass, we're going to encounter what's called a hard save for our first time. And that's the reason that Emre stepped foot just outside of that door before coming back in here. We're going to head back into King's
and then you're going to
Pass
head
in
off
order
towards
to,
the, because you can bounce off
our
spikes, I
first
discovered, so you can
Since
do that
charms
early.
are percent, 106 does pick up all of them, but
Right.
then once she picks it up, she'll be quitting out and will reappear back at the door, and that's something that you're going to see throughout the run.
Right.
If you're completely unfamiliar with Hollow Knight, a couple things to explain up front. In addition to save quitting, there's going to be some other kind of technical things like early control.
Realized I didn't have my
and we'll try to
microphone
touch on
close
each of
by.
those
I
as we go
apologize for the
along.
first bit of
Up
this
in
being
the
quite
upper left is the HUD.
quiet.
The orb that you see is going to be
I'll try
for
and boost
soul,
it in
which Emerald will
editing.
use for both healing and magic spells. The masks are our health, and right below that you'll see our geo count, which is the.
I don't know why
currency.
anyone would be
A
watching
little
this
bit
if
later,
they're
you'll also
not familiar
see,
with
essence
Hollow
up there,
Knight.
which is sort of a
Like, why would you
spiritual
watch a
currency.
speed run if you haven't
And all
at
that's
least
run
become
out very
somewhat
tightly.
familiar with the
We
game?
picked up that geo rock there
So
because
I'm
we're
not
gonna
sure why
want
you'd
50
go
geo in
explain.
relatively short order in order to purchase the stag.
Okay.
Here we're doing another
But I'm not sure
1221
why you'd
exclusive
go
trick
into that
with,
much explanation about
mid-air
things.
inventory drops. It is still possible to do on current patch, but it's a lot more precise.
Yep, I do have the
Coming up to
volume
the
up,
first
right.
gauntlet here, we're going to try to do things as fast as possible and kill the enemies with a spike instead of fighting them, and Emre did manage to hit one of them. So this is the last of our geo. Keep in mind, again, like I said, we're aiming for 50 in order to purchase the Crossroads Stag, and then we're going to move right along. A lot of the game is cycle-based, and here you'll see the first example of that. You basically want to go right as fast as possible, so there's a particular order that you can jump and pogo over the golems where you don't have to stop.
Right.
And excuse me, we're going to continue through this, not quite as tricky as of a cycle, on our way up to purchase the stag. We're also going to be equipping our first charm here. Fury of the Fallen is a charm that gives you additional strength, but only when you're at 1 HP. And
Yeah,
that
that's
additional
why I
strength
never
is
used it.
something that 106 takes advantage of a lot in the early game. Once we get some stronger magic, it doesn't become quite as useful, but you will be seeing it in action here for the False Knight.
So you deliberately
taking
taking
damage
damage
is
for
intentional,
that.
and opening that secret passage is also intentional, because then we won't have to open it when we come back later. So once Emre does get into Fury, you'll also see a visual.
So the journal
on
doesn't
the
count
screen
towards the
indicating
percentage
how
completion,
powerful
does
she
it?
has
From what
become.
I can
And
gather, because
although
I
it
was
can
still at
seem scary to do a
108%
fight at just 1
after I got the
HP,
journal
cycles
completed.
coming into play again,
So I
it's
don't
actually
think
very
it counts
safe
towards
to do this
completion
particular fight,
percentage.
even at 1 HP. So basically,
as far as I
you
can
can
tell.
hit him into a stagger before he has a chance to hit you, and then
Now at
kill him with the stagger
110%.
again, as long as you hit the cycle before he can even
But-
swing his mace your direction. He's down again.
Excuse
If
me,
you're
sorry
familiar
for the
with other
coughing.
Hollow Knight speedruns, you may know that you actually don't have to finish this fight because there's a secret exit on the left side of the arena. But we actually want to get the city crest that he drops, as well
Yeah.
as get the geo out of the chest, because again, geo routing is very tight in 106.
Also, he is a percentage.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
Those pesky percents.
Yeah, and since we do need a lot of essence in this category, we will be fighting like the harder versions of a lot of these bosses, and that includes him too.
Ah, yes, we delete them so fast in 106, it's easy to forget.
Yeah.
We'll be playing the torch game up here. Can we get the torch game? No. There is, I think it's like a pixel perfect spot there where you can swing your nail and not break either one of the torches, and you'll see most speedrunners go for that little trick. Entering into the mound here, the shaman is going to grant us our first spell.
Yep.
The Vengeful
Which I
Spirit,
imagine would be
aka
very
Fireball,
important through a
is going to
speedrun.
allow us to do lots of things, such as kill boulders and jump up places we weren't actually intended to go.
What do you mean jump up places? Is that what was happening in the any percent one that I watched before this?
Because the fireball gives you a little bit of a pushback, it enables several skips that save some time.
Oh, that makes sense. That would be why they were able to jump up ledges when I was watching that I didn't think you could make.
Little infestation and
okay.
You know, if we would just help a homie out and go over here and use our new spell that they gave us, then they'll open the gate and let us free. So we're going to make our way through here as quickly as possible. Boulders generally take 4 fireballs to kill, and our vessel holds enough for 3, so we actually want that little roller that split in order to get more and have enough to kill it. Then we're going to pick up our additional charm here, the Soul Catcher, which we're also going to equip, even though it looks like we don't have room. But wait, if you just
discovered that
and believe, you can wear more charms than it looks like for the low price of double damage. I think
there's a couple of
go ahead.
Sorry. There's a couple of reasons that I'm deciding to overcharm here, even though I don't intend to use Fury for the next 2 bosses that we normally would in a run, because it is a little bit too dangerous for a marathon setting. We're going to be overcharming for a large portion of this run, so I figured I may as well do it here. Normally, being overcharmed in Green Path is great because there's a little bit of a freeze whenever you get hit by enemies. So being able to get into Fury...
How did you kill that in one shot? I saw that in the any percent. I don't understand.
I just did there to that Balder, that innocent child.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier the Balders generally need 4 fireballs to kill, and you might be thinking, wait a minute, that wasn't 4. And that's because of a glitch that exists on this patch where your fireball kind of gets stuck at the edge of the screen, and 1 fireball is capable of hitting the boulder multiple times.
Right.
So the very particular way that Emre kind of woke up the boulder and then took a little bit of a step back before shooting the fireball gets it positioned exactly right to take advantage of that. And that's not a trick that you can do on current patch because fireballs just don't go to the edge of the screen anymore. We're also headed up to our second fireball skip here, taking advantage of that little bit of pushback that I mentioned earlier. And unfortunately,
second? Where was the first skip?
We have to go over here and talk to Eric.
Oh no. Okay,
Eric.
hold on. I'm gonna go ahead and reset the room. Because I really don't want him to be right there.
Yeah, every now and then the squid just will not cooperate, and that's why people often get mad at Eric. Oh goodness.
Yeah, that was not
well,
right.
we all make mistakes. Good to see a speedrunner do it every now and then.
In Fury at Hornet, that's not ideal. 3 health is okay. I should be fine. Luckily, there is a backup for every single one of the fireball skips. So if I do fail them, they're usually okay, unless I walk off of a ledge.
Yeah.
There we go. Got the next one.
For the first fireball skip, you can basically just go the intended path. For the second one, you can take Eric the Squid, as you saw. And for the third one, those 2 husks that Emre used to farm soul on actually get close enough to the edge that you can pogo them up there. And that has a multitude of names. Buddy Bounce is a popular one. All the alliterative ones.
That was fast.
The double hit that Emre just got on the Moss Knight there is a trick that you can get. If you get him to jump backwards, the fireball will double hit.
That's
and
clever.
That basically saves a little bit of soul farming up here as we make our way.
So does the Colosseum count towards towards your percentage?
Sorry.
Or can you just leave Zote alone?
Category because we do not save Zote. We have no reason to.
Oh, okay.
We didn't mention it, but there is one thing that is technically optional that is required, and we do have to complete the Grim Troop DLC by defeating Nightmare King Grim. So that is required in the run. I will be doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, and as Emre mentioned earlier, In a more competitive setting, you would be aiming to do Hornet in Fury, but here we're just going to be working over Charmed, and the initial fireball actually skips Hornet's dialogue so that you get to the fight a lot quicker. On 1221, the stagger cycle is 5 hits, so you can see M's really got her locked in a corner here. That was great.
Actually, I had a glitch there where
did
she
she get
can't
stuck?
jump. Yeah, I got the what do they call it? Ground net?
Floor net.
Floor
Ghost
net.
of
Yeah,
Cthulhu
that's what
around.
it is.
I thought
Yeah,
you were
I
just
got the
hitting her
floor
that
net
quick
glitch.
that you were getting the stagger. I wasn't perceptive enough to see the floor net.
Yeah.
That can be our major glitch for
Okay.
the day as a treat.
Okay, I hope that's all we get.
And that actually seems to happen quite often when I'm on commentary, which is a little bit weird. That also happened to Math when I was coming for him one time. But now that we've got our dash, we're going to be a lot speedier as we move around, and we're going to head down into the fungal wastes in search of our mantis claw, aka the wall grab. And we're going to be doing a series of
So
type movement,
getting
and
the
then a
mantis
series of
claw is
skips
still
that will get
faster
us
than
into the
doing
mantis
anything else
village
then.
a little quicker than
I
anticipated.
would still, like, if I'm going to
Coming
play
through
this in
room
an
can be a
order
little bit
that, you know,
Charm
for
Notch.
me,
Before
I
we go get clawed,
I don't tend to
we're gonna
go
come over
from
here and
completing it to
fight
trying to
these shroom
speedrun it.
ogres.
Like, in
You see
between that,
M
I
is
will
still
go,
overcharged,
hey, I'm
but
going to
once
try
we
and
pick
do
up
this
the
in the
Charm
order
Notch for
I
this
want to do it
fight,
in. I'm going to
we
do
won't be
some
anymore.
wacky shit
These
that
guys actually
might
have,
not make a lot
pretty
of sense from a
reliable kills
speedrunning
with,
perspective, but I find fun.
fireballs, since on this patch you
So,
can hit them both
for
with
instance,
fireballs, since the
you know, trying to
fireball
get
does go all the way to the edge of
Shine
the screen,
Spark, or whatever
and
it's
having
called,
picked up that Charm
the
Notch,
Super
we are no
Dash,
longer overcharmed, and we're
Crystal
so
Heart,
fully healed.
without having wall jump. Like, I don't know if it's possible, but I want to try, because it sounds nuts. And
High cloth by
yeah,
cloth.
I don't know. I don't know
head
if
on
it's
down
possible,
forward.
but I want to try to do it.
E-Pogo, which is a skip that you'd see in many Hollow Knight runs. On 1221, you're actually able to pogo the explosion. There are current patch E-Pogos, but they rely on pogoing on the sporg, or the thing that makes the explosion. So,
That was a little early.
oh,
I've been struggling with this trick a lot. Bear with me, chat. This has always been like my personal demon with running this game.
Mind if I cut in for a great
Alright, got it
announcement?
that time.
Huh.
Really quick.
Sure, go ahead. You can explain this
thank
after.
you. We just reached $73,000 raised for Malala Fund.
Oh,
And
nice.
We're just over halfway
Well done to
for
them.
Path of Pain for a total of $4,221. We are almost there in unlocking the incentive. Thank you so much for your contributions, everybody.
thank you so much, everyone.
Path
Nice.
of Pain.
Let's go, chat.
How
A
did
lot
you
of the
manage to
movement
keep
here in
moving while
Mantis
that's on
Village
the screen?
relies on manipulating the Mantis youth to do what you want. You saw when M came down. It's a very, very specific sequence to go over, kill the lower Mantis, hit the lever, and then pogo.
Is
up
it faster to
where you get
leave
Mantis
that way
Claw,
than to wait for the
and then
door?
by
Because
luring
because
the
you're going out
upper
the top.
Mantis, you can actually
Okay.
get it to help you get early control by knocking you out of the Mantis Claw cutscene.
I
In a
thought
lot
you were
of
going to
categories,
head
this is
straight
where
to the
you would
Mantis
save,
Lords
quit back
there.
out, but in 106, we're actually going to climb up here, stop to get a grub, and head on our way to the
Right, you
secret
haven't gotten
caves.
any grubs yet.
So, grubs have several items locked behind them, including 2 charms. And as mentioned earlier, charms are percent, so we're going to have to save all of the grubs, as I'm sure we'd all want to anyway, in order to make sure that we get both of those charms. We picked up the City Crest from False Knight,
Yeah.
and so we're actually going to enter here into the front door of City.
Yeah, I
lot
gathered
of
you were going to
runs
do
start
that.
on
There's no other
the
reason to
right
get the...
side, because
City
they shade
Crest.
skip in through a different
I kn-
entrance. But we're going to come in this way and make our way directly to Soul Sanctum. And a lot
I don't
of
know
the
why
early
you
game of
wouldn't just hit
106
the
is
levers
sort
while
of
you went.
wandering through the game. Well, not wandering. running through the
Even
game,
if you don't
getting
intend to
all of
use
your
them.
movement abilities and spells, and then going back through and doing a little bit of cleanup when you are faster and more dangerous.
I like the idea of the run being just like wandering through, as though like you don't already have this pre-planned out. You're just so good at doing it on the fly.
Yeah. We just
No,
happened
really,
to
I
find
have
this
no
really
idea what I'm
fast route.
doing, so. I have no idea what I'm doing. Don't listen to Colette.
That was our friend Coral chilling on the bench. Unfortunately, we don't have time to stay and hang out with him. But we're gonna head here into the
Okay.
rafters, picking up.
I guess you don't have the money
And I guess
required
I
to
don't think we
upgrade the
really
nail
talked about
yet,
relics too
right?
much, but basically, there are some items in the game that are just in there in order for you to sell and have geo. They're a secure form of geo because although hopefully we won't see any deaths today, if you do die in Hollow Knight, your ghost keeps all of your money. And if you die before collecting your ghost, you lose all your money. So
Yeah.
relics are something that's
I've
safe from
discovered that.
And we'll head over here and sell to Lem to get some more geo. Then we're gonna head. Oh, go ahead.
I assume that it's already been mentioned, but the geo routing in this route is actually very tight. So picking up that specific thing to sell for geo is actually like a serious part of the route.
Yeah. We just saw a really nice lever skip that helped us.
You
avoid
didn't
those
grab the grub
DLC
while you were
rooms
there?
On the left side there, and that's another one. Of the
Why
things that
would
makes
you want to
1, 2,
come
2,
back
1,
for that later?
Kind of a really good patch for speedrunning because it saves so much time to be able to skip those rooms by just hitting that lever through the floor. And as we head up here, you're going to see it again. And this is going to allow us to skip the first Soul Warrior, aka Norman 1. That used to actually be in the 106 route, although it was after the Soul Master. But after some rerouting, we no longer need the geo that he drops.
Okay.
And so we're able to skip them all together.
Okay.
We also have to make sure not to go back into his room later because that can actually cause a soft block.
Yes, and that was one of the best reasons to route him out because the route that was used actually was like you just were rolling the dice of whether it was going to be a soft lock or not.
The room that I just went through, by the way, is Hack Room. They were very, very nice for a marathon run, I gotta say.
Yeah, that was actually incredibly
that was beautiful.
Can we get some applause for the Soul Warriors behaving?
Yeah. And here in this next room is
Easiest,
Soul Master
well,
fight.
not the
This is
easiest
another
boss,
one
not by a
that
long
in a
shot, but
non-marathon
one of the
setting would
easier,
be done under Fury,
important
and because of that is a place where a
bosses,
lot
like
of
ones
runs
that gives
come
you
by.
abilities. I think he's,
Because
yeah.
everything in Soul
I
Silver
think
works
Soul
teleport
Master
directly on your
is
path. And some of them
great.
also like to shoot
Not-
fireballs at you. So
Not
Soul
like
Master does both of
he's
those
he's
things, and
interesting,
can be
but
quite
he's not
a pest if he goes
difficult.
just
Like he's actually
teleports
pretty easy to
directly
beat.
where you were dashing. But on the flip side, the Fury fight is so fast that a lot of times
I know some
he doesn't
people
have a
probably
chance to do
have
that
trouble
because
with
he's
him,
so
but
dead.
I find that his
But to be
predictability is
marathon
quite
safe, this
useful.
fight is still
Like he
going pretty
telegraphs
quickly,
things
even though
so
we're not
well.
in Fury. And we've defeated Soul
And
Master.
that's just really good.
We're happy.
And I'm not saying I didn't screw up a few times, because I absolutely did.
So,
But
like, that was still really quick.
I really like
I think this
Soul
is one of
Master
the
as a
first
boss.
great debates in every casual player's run where you just have a moment of victory and then you just, oh no,
Yep.
there's phase 2.
So an important thing about the dives in this phase is actually that his first dive doesn't have a hitbox. And so that allows Emery to position for the hits that she's going to get in.
Yeah, we're always going to dodge the first one. It's that way for every iteration of Soul Master, including the upgraded version. If we get to see
Here's a
Hollow
good
Nest, I'm also
question.
gonna be dodging the first
Why-
dodge there. I really hope that y'all.
Why
go
wouldn't
ahead
you
and
go
that
and
is, by
grab the
way,
dream
it's
nail before
fantastic.
coming
We
here?
still have tons of time.
Yeah, and here we pick up the Desolate Dive.
If you got the Dream Nail before
and
coming
picking
here,
this
you
up
could beat him and
also
then go
refills
straight
our
into the
soul.
Dream version of the
The
boss, which
dive
I'm
is
assuming you
used to
still
break
need.
floors as well as
for,
do damage, and when you use it,
the 106%.
offensively, one of the great things about it is that it also gives a lot
Or do you
of
not need it?
invincibility frames. So you can see it used
I don't
just for
know.
dodging in certain situations. But here we're going to use it to make our way out of the sanctum. There's
I mean, I'd
another
rather
relic that we're
watched
gonna grab
112%, so
here,
it'd be in the
as
same
well
version of the
as
game that I was
that we
playing.
hopefully
But
will be
I
able
couldn't
to
really
get a fake
find one
dive,
that was by
a
games
dive
done
that breaks
quick,
the
and
floor,
they're
but
the
we don't
ones
go
I
through.
prefer to watch when
Since
I'm
we
watching
didn't, we'll get to
speedruns,
see,
because I like the commentary they
and
give.
go around for the grunt. It is
But also,
possible to
you
come
know,
and
it's
get it
not
later,
someone
after
else
Soul
doing
Torrent,
it, like
but
a
in most
streamer
cases,
doing it
runners
and
will
chat
get it
talking to
before
their
they
own
reach
chat.
it in
It's someone who's trying to explain the
better
run
to do it
itself.
now than to forget. Didn't take my
I'd
jump input. It looked
prefer
like I had
not
a
to
weird
have other
wall-play
people's
storage
chat there when I'm watching
wall-play
a
storage, by the way,
speed
is
run.
something that we should probably talk about.
Yeah.
So it's useful in a lot of places on this patch, but sometimes you get it accidentally like that, and it can throw off your whole groove. I think you've already seen me do it once through a gate earlier, and you like preserve your dash momentum as you're going through the gate. So that's part of why that's such a good movement tech.
Why are you going up and around like that?
Yeah, in some cases, the rules
Why
around
wouldn't you
wall
just
play storage
smash
are
through the
actually a
floor
little
at the
bit
bottom?
complicated. You have to be able to make the same movement through the same space with your existing equipment. But if you throw that requirement out the window, like wall playing storage can be used in some pretty wild ways.
Apropos,
We're going to.
Oh,
go ahead.
Sorry, I just want Emre to have 2 more Geo.
Oh, well, I'm about to get a lot more Geo, so I'm gonna disappoint. Sorry.
Wrecked. Sorry, go ahead, Colette.
We're gonna head out of Sanctum here. We're gonna purchase this bench, duck out of the door just quickly to skip the animation, and change out our charms. And this is going to be our bench for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
We have a long trip through Crystal Peak before we're going to save quit back to that bench, so we cannot sit down anywhere during the next segments.
It's also really important that Emre not take too much damage, because dying will, of course, send us all the way back to that bench.
Yes. And healing is possible, but healing is slow, so speedrunners never want to heal. But we will be hopefully playing it safe here since we're marathon setting. And actually, hopefully everything will be easy and we won't have to play it safe because it's free.
Yeah, I'll just play perfectly. No big deal.
Yeah, easy.
Hit all the right buttons at the right
Easy.
times and make sure that your computer doesn't do anything wrong.
This is our first example of what is known as the look down or the scurry look down, and it basically makes the bell come out of the ground faster for reasons.
Okay, why
Basically,
would that
those
be?
animations are tied together, so when the knight looks back up, it assumes that the bell animation is done.
Yeah, it's extremely weird, and it saves quite a bit of time because if you don't do it, the bell is surprisingly slow. We just passed one of the entrances to Crystal Peak. That one is not accessible to us because we don't have the lantern, but our access is going to be with the dive
Yeah,
that
with
we
the-
picked up. In the vanilla game, you can access either of those routes, but the one has a toll that you cannot interact with in the dark, so you cannot like shortcut your way in there. And here we're passing Mila.
Hi, Mila.
My sweet princess. We never get to hear her sing because we already have dive. Luckily, she was not an incentive for this event, so we're not gonna have to murder her either. Let's go, Milo lovers. We win by default.
Yeah. Crystal Peak is
Yeah,
one
I
that
never
is
found a way
very,
to
very
save
full
her.
of cycles,
I
so
guess
some of
with
these
the ending
routes,
we got beating the
if
Radiance, you
hesitate
technically
or
save
miss
her
even
in
one
that,
thing, it can mess up the cycle
because
for the whole rest of the room.
like
in other
it looks like you
cases,
wipe
things are
out
a
the
little bit
infection
more
altogether.
lenient,
So,
but in most
you know,
cases, there's
we
a-
might have died, but we saved Mila, and that's
setup.
I'm
okay.
getting this.
That's
I
the
will
way you
reset for
win.
this until I get it. by the way.
There is a setup in most of the rooms to take
now,
advantage of the cycles.
I do remember
What we're trying to
someone
do
saying there was 5
here is take
endings.
ad-
I've found 3
take
that I can
advantage
count.
of the
I don't know how you get
with
other
that
ones.
minor throws to do a pogo, and we call that
No
trick
idea. Maybe you get
Pog
one
X.
from beating
Not because
Godhome
it's a
first
pog
before you
trick
take
by
on
X
Hollow
to
Knight.
move, but because it is a literal
Maybe you
X
get a
pogo.
different one for doing the
Oh.
whole.
The reason that it's called
Path of
that is
Pain.
because we didn't know how to set it up for a long time. It was just like something people would go for on a dead run. to try to save a little bit of time and meme. But we managed to find a consistent setup for it, so it's really neat whenever that sort of thing happens in a speedrun.
So I guess I could say that it's
Can we,
also a pog axe trick, but you know, technically it's an axe pogo. We just picked up
Sorry, I should have
Sly's
put
shopkeeper key
those
there
on
in that little
sooner.
alcove, which is one of the two main reasons behind.
Sorry,
this
everyone
trip to
who
Crystal Peak.
was waiting for
We saved Sly
for
earlier when we were
captions.
at the-
I
no,
didn't
wait.
think about
We're
it.
headed to slave Sly after this. I'm sorry, getting my categories mixed up. And he has some items for sale right off the bat, but the rest of his items are locked behind that key. The other reason that we're here now is in order to get Crystal Dash, and as we come through here, there are a couple different methods to come through. There's a damage tank version and a no damage version. Categories that save quit out of Crystal Heart generally do the damage tank version, as it's a little bit faster. But since 106 has so much left to do, also underplat, woo. 106 has so much left to do after this, we do the no damage version so that we keep our health for later areas. And Crystal Dash is going to allow us to get to those areas very, very quickly and over very vast distances.
Yep.
The
It's a great ability.
Crystal Dash becomes faster anytime you're doing more than 4 dashes. So there are a lot of places where it has been found, little places where you can grab or little narrow spots you can get through that enable crystal dashing instead of regular dashing. There's several more grubs for us to pick up here in Crystal Peak. Oh, that guy's really rude.
Mind if I cut in for an exciting announcement? Awesome.
Yes.
Thanks. So we actually just spent right past $74,000 raised for Malala Fund. We are over halfway to 75K, and we are so close to fulfilling Path of Pain. We are less than $700 away from the 6K unlock. Thank you, everybody, for your donations. And let's
So
get
is
that
Path of Pain an optional part of the speed run, depending on whether or not they donate enough?
Nice.
Is that how it works? Bit like how in Super
Okay, go ahead.
Metroid it's save or
those
kill the
functions,
animals.
Are terrifying, but they're yet another example of the many cycles in.
Gee, going through here without light, that's a
Yes.
nightmare.
The dark room is, I guess, not exactly a cycle, but you treat it somewhat like a cycle. It can be very scary. I remember when I started playing saying, I will never do a dark room. But once you know the room and you understand where the enemies are, even though you can't see it, I promise you guys, it's not that bad. It looks scary. Emery did a little skip there by avoiding those platforms to the right. You can pogo up the crystals there. And then we're going to save the grub before heading on over to get our Descending Dark. This is the Void upgrade of the Desolate Dive, and it's basically a much more powerful version.
Yep.
And basically, we kill another snail and eat its power.
Yeah, and some categories are able to do a form of early control there, but unfortunately in 106, because we get here so early, we don't have any of those options, such as like dash.
So is it fast to do this weird glitch with opening the menu to the inventory while you're falling than it is to dive slam fall?
On 1221. Intentionally.
Yeah, like-
oh, go ahead.
The crystal bug that was next to me whenever I did the pogo skip. In current patch, it doesn't like to eat itself into spikes, but on this patch it does. So, yeah, I wish that it worked.
And we intentionally fell down into that vast crevasse to come down here into the resting grounds, and this is where we're going to get our dream nail. And we also fell intentionally into that vast crevasse because it's a loadless time save. A lot of the things that we see here are loadless time saves. If you're interested in running Hollow Knight on PC, but you think maybe that your PC isn't the best, it's actually okay because the loadless timer allows everything where you're not in control, so the loads in between screens and stuff like that, to not be counted. And so
Speaking of the loadless timer, I actually have mine running right now so that I can see my timer start moving again for a skip that I'm going to do right here.
Yeah, we've picked up the dream nail. And we're gonna reappear in the Sears house, or are we?
Oh, heck. My finger slipped off of the button, so I
Darn.
had the C dash.
We'll get to see that same skip in a slightly different form later on in the run.
Yes.
But basically, it allows you to leave the Sears house before you've even stood up by taking a form of early control just as the cutscene ends.
Yeah, it's very, very fun to watch too. I'm not going to spoil the animation for you, but we'll look for it when we do it next time.
Yeah. Heading down here into the crypts, there's a few things.
I still
to
don't
take care
understand
of.
why you didn't save the grub.
for one, and
Oh,
also
actually, you
the
know what? You have to go
farm
back
left
up
pick
there
the
when you
charm.
go
The
to take
Soul
on the
Eater
dream
is a charm
version
that's
of
very
Soul
powerful, but
Master.
Because it takes so many notches, it's one that unfortunately isn't used throughout a lot of the run. But we will get to see it in action.
You gonna grab the
much
Hollow
later on
Nest
once we
crest
get
there?
to
No.
the Coliseum.
Hollow Nest, sorry, not
We'll
Hollow
also be
Nest.
back in this area when we have to do the flower quest, and that's why Em already opened up the ceiling there. And then we're going to head our way to the left on our way to take, I don't know if this is necessarily a shortcut, but in many cases you would not necessarily go this way. You'd probably take the stag out of Resting Grounds, but for 106 it's faster to go this way because we want to open this lever so that we can enter this room later from the top. That lever controls a block in the ceiling. We're actually right next to it earlier, but I didn't think to point it out then. Zooming our way across Blue Lake here, we're going to stop by and see Salubra, aka Sally.
Buying
the
something, I
Vivacious
guess. What are you
Charm
buying?
Seller. And we've got a couple purchases to make here.
Why that
Shaman
one?
Stone, because it's phenomenal. And
Why is it
also
good?
Because it gives us 5 charms, which is what it takes for her to service that
I
charm
didn't
badge.
think it was that useful having the
And then
extra
we'll
bit
head
of
over here to
iframes.
Free Sly so that we can go purchase the elegant key from him. And you saw Gru's mom sleeping up there. She will remain sleeping because 106 gets the Gru's mom percentage from the Coliseum. The Gru's mom in Crossroads stays sleeping for the entire run, even though it means we have to go kind of around her arena in a flower quest.
So that
Really, the
answers
best
my
timeline
question
was
of do you need to do the
that
Colosseum?
After the game is over, Gru's mom gets to live happily ever after as a result of that.
And her children get to hit other people trying to fall down crossroads.
Yeah. We did pass the Crossroads tram there, which also is another connection to Resting Ground, but that tram does not get any use in the speedrun. We will
I
be using
don't
the
see
lower
any
tram
reason why
later
you
on,
would want to use it, to
as
be
that
honest.
is the only way to access certain parts of the map.
I actually have some news for our runner, Emre. We just reached our incentive for Path of Pain. So thank you guys so much.
Nice,
Thank you
let's
everyone
go.
for your kind donations and contributions to Malala Fund and showing our runners and commentators.
So when they get
immense
up to
support.
Path of
Thank
Pain,
you, thank
I'm
you. We will
probably
see Path of
going
Pain
to
done
skip
during
past
this
it so
run.
I'm not
And to
spoiled
update everybody,
too much
we
on it,
just went past
or at all on it.
$75,000 raised for Malala Fund. And we are on our
if
way
that's
to
how
our
this
milestone
works,
of
because like I said, I'm either going to try it again
$77.77
later,
to
before the
see
episode and add it into the
Hollow
other
Nest.
episode
So
that
be
I've
sure to get
recorded,
those donations
or
rolling
we're
in
going
if you wanna see
to
an
stream it,
extra
and
bonus.
I'm probably thinking streaming it, because that way I can
So we
take
finally
breaks,
took
as I
advantage of
said,
that bench we sat on
in the
all
episode
those,
that you've
long
seen,
time ago,
or you've
and
seen the episode and
here we
there's
are now
more of it
fighting
in there,
Soul Warrior 2, aka
but
Norman 2. Lots of community nicknames.
yeah, I'm gonna skip past
some
that.
of the bosses and enemies have,
As much as I'd love
I'm
to see
trying to
them
remember also
speedrun it,
the
I don't
real
want to be
names,
spoiled on what happens or what to
yeah.
do in there yet.
non-meme
I want to
that
try
people
and
know
figure
what
it
I'm
out.
talking about. But that
That
Soul
was
Warrior
kind of unlucky.
is the ghost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to stall out for a ghost, and it was probably like frames from spawning another one. It's fine.
Yeah, that's another.
There is a way to do early control there that is not possible on later patches. They put an invisible wall, unfortunately, but it's okay. There's one other early control that I might get to go for.
Yeah, and the ability that we picked up there was the Shade Soul. It's the Void upgrade of the Fireball, and that's really great timing because.
So I assume playing this in
the upgraded version of
Japanese,
Soul Master.
Chinese.
And as you can see
I
there,
think it's
the damages
Chinese.
increased, especially because
I
we
could
have
be
our
wrong.
Shaman
I
Stone.
am
With Shaman Stone, the
not
Shade Soul is gonna be doing
fantastic with the
40
difference
damage in a
between
single
the
hit, and when double hits are able to be set up, then it's going to be doing 80. And double hits happen when you're a particular distance
with
from
the difference
enemy
between
and they're
the
moving away
characters.
from you, generally speaking.
I
So they
think
are
it's.
something that can be controlled.
Oh, it might be
and,
Japanese actually.
used to your advantage.
That first
The
letter
Soul
looks
Tyrant can
very
be a bit of a
Japanese.
pain
I
to
did
fight
learn a
without
tiny
wings,
bit of Japanese
but
back
we don't
in
want to have to come back to Soul
early
Silver
high
and
school,
read
which
this
is
essence, pretty
how
quickly
old am I
here
now?
because one of the final movement
18,
pieces that
20 years
106
ago.
needs to pick up is the Dream Nail. Sorry, the Dream Gate.
So I
which
recognize
is
tiny
the
little
first
bits of it.
upgrade for the Dream Nail.
But
And
so
basically
I
lets
think
you
it might
leave a
be
little spot that
Japanese
you can
actually,
teleport
based
to.
on that first
The
character.
magic number of essence that you need
I don't
for
know.
that is
I'm not great
900,
with the difference, and I'm
and
sorry to
300
anyone
of
who
it is
speaks
going to come
either.
from this Soul Tyrant fight.
But is
So
it
I'm trying to get 'em
faster
set
in
up
like
for,
dialogue to skip through or
doubles,
something? Is that why
and we're
they
gonna try to get
play?
through the first phase as
that
quickly as
way?
possible and on to the second. So the second is closer to the Soul Master fight, and once he's done diving, we're gonna hope for a floor spawn so that we can spam D-Darkon. In 1221, you are able to literally spam D-Dark if you're given the opportunity to, because the iframes don't disappear the same way that they do on current patch. But he actually spawned in the air there, which is rude, but got it taken care of.
That's all right. I had to play a little bit safe. I didn't want to get down to 1 health because that is a very long fight to die at the very end of.
Yeah, but very nicely done.
Yeah, that was pretty decent for Soul Tyrant. Excuse me. Soul Tyrant can be quite a bully. As you can see, he teleports a lot, but we did get decently lucky there.
I believe your splits call him RNG Tyrant, so
Yes.
relatively polite.
They sure do.
Yeah, and we're taking advantage again of the bench that we purchased earlier, and we're going to head down into the waterways. A little bit earlier when we were headed out of Sanctum and headed toward the city storerooms, we stopped in a little alcove and picked up a key, and we're going to put that simple key to use coming up here after another trip to Lem. In 106, you basically stop and sell to Lem anytime you're near him, and even though it's not always a huge amount of money, it's usually just on time for when you need it.
Yeah,
Right.
The geo routing being tight is not just about the amount of geo that you pick up, it's about when you get it and when you need it as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so heading here into waterways, we're going to open up the bench, which is behind a dive floor, and sit on the bench in order to set our save point there before getting headed down to get the charm that is kind of the hallmark.
So how
of
do you deal with the
106 in many ways.
fluke moms properly? Because they were a
Flukes
pain in the
are
ass, the
broken
big
in
ones.
different ways on different patches, and in 106 they allow us to do a lot of kind of little janky things because of the way that they interact with background objects, or because of the way that they don't interact with background objects. One example is that they don't knock bosses out of stagger.
Oh, no.
Missed the quick kill for Fluke Marm, and that is one that requires.
Okay, I actually don't know what to do here if this happens.
Oh my goodness! Reset the room? Question mark.
Can you reset the room?
I mean, it'll still wake up.
Oh
and
no.
It'll stop the flukes, the baby flukes for a minute.
Okay, got it.
There we go. The quick kill for Fluke Marm requires you to be.
Okay. That's, you know what? That's fine. I don't understand how I missed it, but you know what? We're okay
Yeah.
because she's dead, I think.
No, she's dead. We just have to run back down and grab our soul, grab our money, and grab her charm.
Yeah. That's a little
Well, that's
bit
unfortunate.
precise, not super precise. It is a little bit embarrassing to miss it because it's that not precise, but Yeah, I was trying to line up in a specific spot on the floor and miss.
Yeah, it requires you basically to be lined up in the center of Flukmarm, and if you're off to either side, then you go down the slope of her body.
Okay.
Yeah, on the scale of deaths that we could have taken, that was one of the less impactful ones, fortunately. So
Yeah, this whole segment coming up though is very.
So
specific
why
to
do you
how I
want
need
the
to
extra
approach it.
iframes?
It's probably one of the segments that I'm most scared of. Okay, never
Like,
mind.
I genuinely don't
I
understand,
am
like,
going to
you
go
can't
take
do
bench again,
knockback
because
tricks
as I
like
was
you can with
saying,
Super
I'm very
Metroid that
nervous
I've
about this
seen at
segment.
least.
Yeah, there are a lot of
Like
dangerous
spikes
things
where
in
you
this
could,
segment,
you know,
and
get
some
launched
intentional damage
off
tanks as
really
well.
quick.
Um,
So why
and
do you
also
want the
very
extra
precise,
iframes? Why do you want a
movement
charm
and
that'll
very
give you that?
precise fighting. Starting with the Dung Defender fight, which is a very specific cycle. Doesn't quite kill him instantly, but it's pretty close to instant. Dung Defender, for those who don't know, you can actually knock out of the ground with dive.
Oh,
So we start by
that's
knocking him
handy.
out of the ground, then a Dream Nail to get soul, a cycle of flukes and nail, more Dream Nail, more flukes, and
Wow,
And an essence drop. Let's
that
go.
was fast.
Hog. And we're also ending the fight with a
Okay,
cast,
so
which is
he
important
didn't
because
die
there's a
here.
breakable floor that we need to open right next to the
Oh, he's in the background, he's crawling into that. Okay,
Getting
sure.
random essence drops like that is actually really nice because that's going to save me time later. So we're going to get an ability that uses essence, and we're going to need to make up some.
You
of that
didn't hit
essence
the
from
lever.
things
I don't
called
even know
dream
what that
trees.
lever does still.
And that's one less essence I'm not going to need to grab. Oh no.
So there is a way on the interior to access this, but that little spike tunnel saves a little bit of time. And then coming up here, we're going to need to be a little bit quiet so that M can hear her visual cue in the next room.
her audio cue.
Yeah, hearing.
I need to hear my visual. No, Colette was right.
Sorry, my bad.
I am going to be a huge coward though, because for marathon safety, this is really consistent skips. But if I were to mess up too much, this could be run ending.
Oh, wow, that's tight.
Okay. Second acid skip coming up. All right, got it.
Nice.
Nice.
And those both may look very intimidating, and they certainly are to start out with, but like Em said, they are mostly consistent. And then
I like how that's the one I failed.
The third one is considered the easiest one to get up to the grub because you can see everything that you're doing.
You still
on the
need
first
Isma's
skip,
tear,
basically
don't you?
can't see where you're starting, and on the second skip, you can't see where you're ending, which is why Em was listening for the sound of hitting the platform. This is a form of
Oh,
early
okay,
control
you grab
that
it
works
after.
if the Horumps cooperate, and they did. Generally, it can be consistent, but if they bump into each other, they can change each other's trajectories, and I wasn't sure if it was going to come properly over, but thankfully it did. We're going to leave Isma's Grove and head down into
Which
Ancient
way?
Basin, and there's going to be another opportunity where things can just go wrong very quickly in the hallway. Ideally, the Ravas are not in your way and you can get a clean C-dash through the entire room, but sometimes with RNG, they'll be right in the worst place. Thankfully, we got through there fairly cleanly. And we're going to head down to another bench that we have to purchase.
The one over
A
on the
lot
left
some
side at the
benches
bottom
in
of
Hollow
here.
Knight are free. We've seen a handful of them, but a lot of them also have a fee, so that's one
So
of the
do
things we currently,
soul containers
are
and
watching with our
masks
geocode,
count towards
and after
percentage
this section,
completion?
We're also going to be purchasing a stag to get out of the basin.
Because if they do, then you
over
need to
here
gather
to
a
the
certain amount for the
is, where we're going to be fighting Broken Vessel and the Dream version Lost Kin.
for
and
the
it goes
fountain
through
up
a
there.
room that is partly cycle based and partly RNG based, as far as whether you're able to get cleanly through these giant Maulurks.
An example of the cycle is how I grabbed the wall there is the reason that I got hit there. That one is supposed to be consistent. I just messed up the movement a little bit.
Yeah. And
Does it give you extra iframes on the downward strike as well, not just getting hit on the slam?
This is the only simple key that we need to in this run. So we're just going to make our way through, filling up on soul so that we have plenty of magic before the fight. And then we're going to go and do a little shortcut here. Nice. That's the basin jump. You
Trans dash,
yes,
actually.
yes.
Yeah. Trans dash basically, it can be used in a lot of places. We used to call it basin jump.
I'm a boomer.
It's okay, me too. But yeah, you basically transfer your dash momentum into extra jump height.
Here in Broken Vessel is another example of just putting flukes on them, and you can see that whenever they miss, there'll be some flopping around, and M is really getting close enough so that the entire cast is just basically instantly absorbed.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fight's over pretty quickly.
And that word absorbed is actually...
Was the
really
combination I had when I was playing with Fluke Mom the reason why it was such a big big thing? Because these are little ones, and I don't think I saw little ones when I did it. I think it was just a big, large, like, orangey yellow one. So was it the set of charms I had that combined?
Basically the same thing, especially during the stagger. Lost Kin does not have a hitbox, so we can basically stand right inside and unload those flukes.
Huh.
And the ghosts that are spawned are basically...
Does it not have... Is that why I was able to do so much damage so quick to it in my run against it? Because it doesn't have a hitbox.
Wow. They also can be used if you damage tank your way through the fight appropriately to do a little bit of a quick exit from this fight, but it's only faster if you're already at low health at the end of the fight.
Yeah. Also, I kind of got unlucky with where that last one spawned and it landed in the flukes. That's just the thing that can happen. It only saves like, what, 2 seconds? So it's not a huge deal.
Also,
yeah.
I also want to point out that that fight doesn't normally go like that. That was a fluke.
Okay, kick her out.
And that fight was worth 400 of the essence that we're trying to collect, and now we stop by here afterwards to pick up the Monarch Wings, which is the double jump of Hollow Knight.
I've actually got a very special donation here
So
from Kaiseron saying,
exiting the menu to go back to the other bench real quick.
GDQ stage. I'm super proud of you, Emre. Love you. Less than 3 for $100. Thank
I love you too.
Thank you so much for your donation.
That is my partner, Kaiseron.
Oh,
by the way.
so sweet. Do we have another some time for another donation?
Yeah, now would be a fun time.
Awesome. We have a $50 donation from Corby May saying, quote number 126. I'll kill anyone for charity. Emre. Please don't kill Mila, sad face. Good luck to one of my closest friends in speedrunning. Less than 3.
You can read a couple more if you want. We're just going to head over here and
So just keep going back to the
snack
bench
station,
by
so it's
jumping
just
to the
gonna be a
menu.
little longer.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're just running
awesome.
some.
Okay.
Thanks so much. We have a $60 donation from
I would have
a
thought
very
it'd be
generous
faster to
donator
leave and
saying,
go up, but
"Save the
apparently not.
Nailsmith," which, by the way, the bid war is still open, and let me just check here that save is actually winning at $304 and kill is at $286. So we're looking like we're saving the Nailsmith. Emre, do you have a preference whether to save or kill?
But he wanted to die. Oh, I
Honestly,
wish
like,
I
if this
hadn't
run
killed him
goes
then.
well, Hollow Knight, you know, is a load-based game, so I will almost definitely be super under my estimate. So no matter if save or kill wins, I have a surprise
Ooh,
planned.
we love surprises. Get excited, chat.
Interesting.
I will unapologetically advocate for saving the Nailsmith. Ronnie Joe deserves to find love. That's what we call the Nailsmith, by the way, Ronnie Joe. He tells you his name. When we go there, you'll be able to hear him say, "Hello, I'm Ronnie Joe."
What?
Trust me. This is
Ronjo Senja.
this isn't made up at all. This is true lore. We're
What?
gonna do a little gauntlet here for another charm before we head over to fight the failed champ. This is the glowing womb charm, and if you are so bold as to put it on, it will sip all of your magic away in exchange for little.
It can be
exploding
useful.
friends that will attack all of your enemies, but basically.
But it's very
Except in limited
contextual.
situations, it's a very tough charm to actually like feel very happy with because you
Yeah.
run out of magic for other things.
Yes, that's what I
because they're
kept
just constantly
discovering with it.
And managed
Is
to
that
get
it's
full
very
soul before coming up
situational.
here, so we don't have to worry about the little maggot baby friends. And we're going to head into the failed champ fight, which the first phase of this
It's a painful
is,
fight.
a little bit of a challenge. Because he's just so quick, he does double damage, but we are going to take advantage again of the D-Dark iframes
Ah,
to
that's a good idea.
get inside and
Ooh.
do as much damage as
That's
possible.
bad.
See.
Oh. And
He had to make it a
that's-
little bit spicier.
That's just an example of how like easily and quickly things can go badly in this fight because the double damage just catches you off guard. But each stagger allows you the chance to recover. And here we see the 1-2-2-1 dives in all their glory. You just chain them together and the phase is over. So we're gonna do that one more again.
I didn't think of
And
dream nailing
the
him
fight
while
will
he
be
was
over,
like that.
just about.
That would be a very
you
good
have
idea.
to quote unquote defeat him down below. I'm sure there are people who have forgotten that fact or maybe not known that fact and possibly jumped off without finishing things, and that would be sad. But in 106, all it takes is a single Shade Soul, since we have Shaman on, and we can immediately leave and cut that scene a little bit short.
Okay.
Those rocks were out for blood.
Very
They really were.
That was so unlucky.
And then back to menu. Where are we
The-
spawning on
The
this one?
failed
I
champ
didn't
gets
actually notice a
300
bench
essence, so
sit.
we now have enough essence to go and visit the seer and get the dream gate. And dream gating is going to play hugely in all of our routing.
I would imagine so.
Basically, you'll be able to put the gate down anywhere you like, and for the cost of 1 essence, teleport back to it. At
Oh, it costs essence. I honestly
Does playing
didn't
on the gate
notice
cost
that.
essence, or is it just teleporting back?
It's just teleporting
Yeah.
back.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
I
you
didn't
can-
realize
you
it
can
cost
change your mind
essence.
about
Oh
what
well,
you want
1
to
is
do
nothing.
as many times as
You get
want.
that randomly
And,
off of enemies.
The random drops
And I'm
from
up to
enemies are
3,000 or
basically
something,
kind of
so
intended to
I have
replace
more
the
than
essence that
3,000
you use while dream gating. And
dream
gating
gates I
will
can use.
actually increase very, very slightly the very low percentage chance of an enemy dropping a random essence.
Oh,
But
Even better.
we do use gates faster than that's able to replenish it in 106, which is why, as Emre mentioned earlier, there's a section where we stop to pick up a few extra from a dream tree. Other than that, the whispering roots are not really routed in because we get enough essence from the bosses.
do they not count towards the percentage either then?
Headed out of here, we're going to
I know they don't
head
give a
back
lot
to
of
Dirtmouth.
like
And there are a few
dream
more things that
essence.
we're going to be picking up in this area, well, the starting area. When we head back through King's Pass, we're going to find our way up to Howling Cliffs, sitting down in Dirtmouth again to set our save point, and we're going to go collect the first of our nail arts.
Oil painting. Wait, that's not right.
No, not yet. The route to Howling Cliffs is one that if you were diligent at exploring, maybe you discovered in your casual before you could actually go up here, and then hopefully you remembered once you got your claw, because it opens up a whole new area.
I discovered it after I got the claw, so I
One
got
of the
up here
3 nail
immediately.
masters makes his home up here.
I mean, as those of you who
Howling
have seen the
Cliffs can
series
also
so
be
far
entered
would
via
know,
the stag
like
nest
that's
stag, but we don't worry about getting the stag nest stag, so we'll actually be entering that as well shortly using an enemy pogo skip.
Huh.
This is the Nail Master Motto, and he's going to teach us the Cyclone Slash. And the Cyclone Slash is very good for farming soul, and it also can be used in place of inventory drops for faster falling speed, the way the two of them work is a little bit different. Cyclone actually speeds you up, whereas inventory drops uncap your fall speed. So the way I understand it is that cyclones are better for short drops, where inventory drops are better for longer drops. Also, by Gorb.
Wow, that was a
Yeah,
fast
that was a
defeat of Gorb.
Something.
So I've heard.
Yeah. A little bit of help to pogo up to the stag nest, and also another good thing Cyclone Slash is good for is movement storage.
This needs
What in the heck?
Just a little drifty drift.
We love floating.
Yeah.
That is a minor glitch, by the way. It is not major. The difference between minor and major in Hollow Knight is if I were invisible and I did that, it would be major, and that's it. That's the difference.
Yeah. As we collect Gorb's essence there, you'll also maybe notice that Emery did a little trick called a Dream Nail Cancel, which lets her move during the collection animation, and we just need to make sure that we don't leave the room before the essence is collected. And we're gonna head down here to do Joni's Dark Room. This is another dark room that can look very scary, especially if you know what the inside of this looks like, which is full of spikes and also full of enemies. But if you know the way through, there are some consistent strats.
Gee, that's impressive.
And there are some
Those
safety
dark
strats.
room ones.
Basically, you just need to remember where the platforms are, and in a lot of cases, if you keep moving fast enough, you'll be out of the way before the enemies can spawn. And we'll find our way picking up Joni's.
This was
blessing
certainly
here.
useful for getting
This is
into
one of the
the.
lifeblood charms, and in the run, they're basically only used at one point, which is
To
at
open the
very
door?
end of the run. And then we'll be leaving via the dream gate that we placed down outside.
Oh. These enemy positions are not great right now. So another thing that's different between this patch and current patch is current patch has consistent enemy positions, and this patch has usually like 2 different options that an enemy can spawn in. And
We're activating
I kind of
Grim.
just react to a lot of those in the run.
This little cave here holds the Grim Lantern, and what we're doing here is activating the Grim Troop content. Using Cyclone again to skip a little bit of the animation there. Otherwise, we'd have had to stand still and listen to their little intro theme song for a minute. But we're just going to dash out, head over here to pick up this relic, and then head back down into Green Path. The first time we were in Green Path, we didn't really come this way because we'll be coming. We know that we were going to be coming back through here now. And it's faster this way. So we're going to take a moment to kill these boulders.
Wow, that was fast.
Again, with the flukes doing some serious damage, and pick up the boulder shell charm. We did not at any point buy the Green Path Stag, and we're not going to now.
Lake of
We're
Un
going
next
to be
would be
using
my
the
guess.
gate to maneuver our way through here, and we're going to place that down once we get closer to where we fought Hornet. On the way down there, we've got another grub to pick up, and then we're going to be placing a dream gate before going
And
to
still
pick
no
up,
savings out.
another
So-
charm.
I mean, I don't care. Zote's pain in the ass.
I was just saying.
Oh, hang on.
Just past the skull.
Oh, the skull. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't save him,
Sorry, not sorry.
does that mean that
Poor Zote. No
Funny
one
story.
misses him.
you don't have to fight him in the
Funny
God
story
realm?
about my casual playthrough. I made it to Green Path. I saved Zote, and I hated him so much that I actually reset the game and started over and left him there. And I didn't know he would actually die yet.
Do we have some time for some donations?
Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
I figured we'd go
saving
Lake of Un.
people, we have a $25 donation from a pig dreamer saying violence should only be used in self-defense. Or how can we call ourselves heroes if we take the lives of the innocent? This donation.
I
goes
say
towards
we. I
saving the
use the
Nelson
term
and
we a
saving
lot,
the
even
brothers
though I'm
best
not the
we
one
can.
playing in this case,
Please
or in the
contribution.
case where I am playing.
And we
no
have
one
a
else is,
$100 donation
and yet I
from
still
Jules
use the
Yes
term we,
saying,
like,
"Hi, Emre.
I'm
So excited to
involved
see
with
Hollow Knight
what
be
I'm
run at a
watching,
GDQ
or
event.
all
Yeah,
of
murder
you
that
watching
nail
me are
smith.
involved with the playthrough. That's why I use
And
we.
just to give everybody
And
an
sometimes
update
I'll go
on
back
our
to saying
goal
I
to
when I
save or
play,
kill Nail
or
Smith,
saying she
Kill is
when
actually now in the lead
we're
at
dealing with watching
$186.
her do the
And
speed
save is
run
at
here.
304.
But
So if you want to save the Nail Smith, you gotta catch up.
or you on occasion.
Oh,
Why would you
yes.
want to do this?
I just
Like,
wanna stress how
what's the
neutral I
point?
am on
Like,
this.
the
is
noun
not like
pronouns,
Update
whatever they are,
on the grand total
that I
for
use
our
are
charity
for
event. We raised
different, like,
$76,000
contextual
for Malala Fund. Thank you so much,
realms.
everybody, for your contribution.
They're not
We are
always
at
consistent,
$77,777.77
whatever.
milestone to unlock.
Right, now you
Pantheon
got that,
of
you go
Bonus.
collect
If
the
you want to see
flames.
a bonus run from Emre, please get your donations in.
My goodness, we're so close.
What's a bonus run?
Yeah, everybody, thank you so much for all the donations so far. We just picked up the Grimchild charm from Grim, the Troop Master, and we're going to head back. Well, first we're going to head to the storerooms. The Grimchild allows us to collect the flames that are scattered throughout the map.
Yep.
And the flames always spawn in the same location, so we don't need to actually check our maps or look around for them. We know where they are, and we route them in. A lot of the 106 routing is based on what level of Grimkin we need to fight and where they're located. So we're going to take care of that one and then ride this elevator up to collect one of our vessel fragments.
Okay.
So far, we still have the same base level of health and soul as we started the game with, but we will eventually be collecting 4 additional masks and 3 extra soul vessels. And this is a piece of one of the vessels. The whole 106 run stays fairly low health and low power, just because of the way that some of the fragments are located at places we just don't go until very late in the game. And as far as nail upgrades, most of the run is done with 0 nail upgrades for a few reasons. There are enemies that scale with your nail, for one thing, and for another, the ore is also one of those items that is just placed in later game areas.
I didn't realize they scaled.
So
We're
one
good.
thing is that you can quit out when you pick up fragments, but you don't want to do that when you actually pick up enough fragments to form a full item, because you don't actually get the item until after the animation is finished. So Emre sat through that entire animation very deliberately.
Yeah. There's only a handful that we actually quit out on. They're mostly mash. I think they're actually all mash shards, not vessel fragments. For whatever reason, just routing worked out that way, I guess. The mash shards are in more like remote areas. Right here, I'm gonna do a trick. Okay, I didn't get it. There's like a sketchy grab. So I want to introduce Shio. Shio is the artist, nail master. He has given up the path of violence to pursue his artistic career. And he is the lover, or the future lover, of the nailsmith if we decide to save him.
What?
Yeah, just think about the choice that you're making. Or
What?
if you hate love. I know it sounds like I'm very pro save right now, but I don't know. Some people hate love.
I mean, that's really
So now
interesting.
we just learned oil painting, right?
But I'm gonna have to pause
Yeah.
this here and come back to
Yes.
watching more in
our
a bit.
second nail
I'm gonna
art
leave it
from
at the right
Shio,
spot,
who is
but
definitely
that's
a
really
homie.
interesting. That's really
Is
cool.
the great
Yeah, I'll be right back to all of you, but to me, I'm going to go get myself some food first. So, thank you for joining me for this first look at a Hollow Knight full speedrun. I probably won't look at any more of these, but there might be some other things to look at. Maybe that, if someone wants to suggest some other sorts of videos for it. But yeah, thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.